You're listening to The Sane Mom Show, and I am your host, Dorothy Whitfield.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Dorothy here. I have a very special guest. So for all of you that have ever made an excuse that you cannot make six figures on your own because you are so busy, I have the CEO babe here, Jessica Yarbrough, and she is going to give us all the things that we need. Well, just enough, and then you have to go check her out so you can get everything that you need. But she's going to give us as much as she can give us in the time that she has with us today. Hi, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So for everyone that is not familiar with you, please introduce yourself.
Sure. Again, Jessica Yarbrough. I'm a single mama and a business coach and mentor for women who want to learn how to create high-end coaching and consulting programs so they can run their businesses from home and pull in $10K a month.
Awesome. So how long have you been a 10K mama?
I would say about a year now. So about a year ago. Mm-hmm.
So help me. Let's go to the beginning. I'm new, starting out. What do I do? Because somebody is brand new, has not had any clients whatsoever. 10K a month may seem like a little bit wow.
Yeah, well, first I would say, what are your skills? You know, what problems can you solve for your clients? Because the bigger the problems, the more people are willing to pay for it. And how important is that problem to them? So it comes down to leveraging your skills to create an offer where you're solving a problem and you're taking your clients through a process of transformation, whether that's around, their business, around their marriage, around anything, around their health. And that's when you can start to deliver the transformation and put a high price tag on it, like $3,000 or $5,000 for your program.
So I have lots of problems that I can solve.
Yeah.
How do I know which one that I should, how do I figure out, whose problems am I solving? Because, the friends, they come to, for the mommies, the friends, they come to you all the time, especially moms. We are good to solve a lot of problems.
Sure.
How do I know which one to pick?
Well, I would say first you need to take a step back and figure out, okay, what are your skills and what are your passions? And then who's your dream client? Who do you want to spend all your time working with? I used to work with doctors and dentists and medical professionals, and I'm really good at it, but that's not my dream client, and so I'm not working with them. So you can work with anyone, and that's when I think a lot of people go wrong is they try to be everything for everyone, though instead just picking a niche. Looking at your client, if you're trying to decide who you should work with, make sure you are working with people who have money, because otherwise you're not going to ever be able to make any money. So for me in particular, my threshold for the mothers I work with are usually around the 75 to 100K range because they have to have money to invest in coaching, at least the high-end coaching. And if you're looking at less than that, it's a little bit harder.
Do you find that some of your clients or some in your years of experience, it's been but I want to help people, and there's kind of some reservations about charging thousands of dollars?
Yeah, sure. Everybody wants to help. But here's the thing. You also have to make a living. So, if you want to keep your job and you want to help people out on the side and it's, not going to be your sole source of income, then sure, charge what you want. But if this is your bread and butter, and you are delivering on the results that you promised, then why shouldn't you be paid what you're worth? And I think the problem is a lot of women devalue their gifts. And so I really don't even like to say what I just said a minute ago about, if you feel like doing this, you can do it, because I think it comes back to self-confidence and self-worth. And we as women, are breaking the glass ceiling, and so in order to do that, you need to charge your worth. And yes, charge more money, because I'll tell you, if it was a man, he's out there charging more.
So what do you see the biggest hurdle to even getting to that point of the having the confidence to do it? Because you have a lot of people that have a lot of great skills, but they're not, they're struggling.
Yeah, I think the way you get confidence is by making sales. Because once you make your first sale, you're like, I can do this, and you're more confident. So that would be a huge key, is like getting your program together, delivering that one result to that one specific type of person that can afford you, and then selling it, making that first sale. Once you make that first sale, you're going to be super confident in all your sales going forward.
Okay, so walk me through those steps. Like, how do I even get to the point of making my first sale? Brand new to first sale, how do I get there?
Well, I think you always should look at your circle of influence. So before you go buy traffic, which that takes money, you should look at who you know. I mean, most likely your dream client is someone you know. In fact, you can probably identify 2 or 3 of them in your head, like, this person needs my program. These are her problems. I can solve it. I know I can solve it. You can reach out to those people. Reach out to people you know through LinkedIn and Facebook, and offer up a discovery call. Speak to their pains and their fears and frustrations, and put up a call. Say, I'm doing a 20-minute, 30-minute strategy session for women that are struggling with this. If that's your avatar, hop on a call with me. Comment below. It's very simple, because you want to try to pilot and test your program with a handful of people before you throw ad money at it, because that can be very expensive. So test it with your warm market, meaning people who know you through, like I said, LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook.
So do I just send them a message and say, hey, discovery call, do you want to get on? Or
Well, there's a couple ways. So one, I would write a story as a long post on Facebook, and I would tell them what I've been through, the relatable obstacles that I've overcome, and share with them my vision of helping women in this way that are struggling with all these things and that want all these things. And then I would put an invitation out for a discovery call. That's one way. A more aggressive approach is to direct message people that you know and say, hey, I've got this program I'd like to run by you. Love to get some feedback on it. And see what they say, and ask them the questions like, if this program is presented to you, do you think it's of value? Is this something you'd be willing to pay for? And do a survey like that without even pitching them. Because if they're truly interested, if you have the ability to solve their problems, their pains, and get them out of pain, they're going to pay you for it. So, and there's a ton of other tactics you can do with getting free leads on, Facebook, but start out really simple. And then when you start generating some money, now you've validated your program, you've got a good offer, you've got the right message, now you can throw ad money at it.
So don't spend a whole bunch of time building funnels. Just write that email or write that letter on that, telling your story, sharing your story in the social media area that you enjoy, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, and then see what happens. Cast your fishing reel, cast your net, and then put it out there before you start saying, I have to put together this whole funnel. Do you find a lot of women do a lot of busy work?
I think I wouldn't necessarily call it busy work. I think people try to build their marketing machine before it's time. And yes, list building is great. Funnel building is great. I mean, I'm in the midst of making 3 of my courses evergreen, which is an enormous project to build out funnels and webinars and membership sites and email series and all of that. Most people, they're going to fail if they try to just do that. They'll never make any sales because they're going to be in tech hell. And it's going to be very confusing and overwhelming for them. That's why I think, I suggest this to everybody, start out, testing and piloting your program, generate some money, have some wins, get some testimonials, and then take some of that money and pay a copywriter and pay someone to build your funnels unless you want to play with it yourself. Start to outsource the things and use the house's money, if you will, right? You're self-funding your way to success rather than start with the funnels. I mean, funnels are great, but what if you spend all this time and energy and you finally get your funnel right and nobody wants what you have to buy? And that happens. It happens all the time. So everything has a place. It's just about, making sure you get your feet wet as a coach and consultant and make sure that what you're even providing is valuable and that people are going to pay for it.
So I have the discovery call.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on the call and it comes time, they're loving you, and it comes time to say, okay, this is the investment. And do you find people are choking up in this point, or it's like,
absolutely.
So how do we get like the frog out of our throats so we can say, well, this is the investment in say it with confidence that, how do we get there? Help us, Jessica.
Well, actually, this is why I put together and released my 6-figure mindset and sales mastery course. I put it together for coaches who struggle with that part of the sales conversation. And so what I would recommend is, besides taking the training, some snippets, some golden nuggets from that is you need to be listening 80% of this time and talking only 20%. You should be asking questions in a way that takes your client through that emotional journey of what they're experiencing and what they'd like to experience instead, and it pushes them towards a buying decision. And if you can even ask questions in a way that overcomes objections before they even come up, then there's no way that you're going to have any choking up at the end. In fact, I'll tell you what's happened on many of my calls, because it's become so natural for me, is that I don't even have to get to the, well, are you interested, that kind of thing. In fact, I skip over that because they'll say, this sounds great. How do I work with you? Well, it's $5,000, or $10,000. You can pay in 2 payments. I have 2 slots available. I'd love to work with you. If you want to work with me, I'll send you a PayPal invoice and we can take care of that right now. And it's very matter of fact. And so you have to get to that point, and you have to get to that point with the right training, with the right sales script, with the right offer, and practice. Because, it takes time to, learn to use your instrument of being a saleswoman. It takes time and energy. And so just know that it will come. But you need to make sure that if you have not closed 10 sales, a dozen sales, you need to hire a coach or complete some kind of sales training program, because there's some inner stuff happening at that point.
What I find interesting is we're all kind of selling all the time.
Yep.
But don't call it selling, just going about our natural life and even attracting friends, meeting new mommies at the park. Yes. We're selling ourselves, even when we're building new relationships. It's all selling. We walk out the house and how we present ourselves. We're selling ourselves with our children.
Yeah.
Negotiating like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're not going to do. But it's like, because you don't think of it as selling, you just think of it as, this is life. This is what happens. This is how things work. If I want to have this, then this is what needs to happen. But it's like when we get into this, oh, now I have to sell, or now I have to convince somebody to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You think that people are doing this? I feel like I have to convince people.
No, absolutely. You shouldn't be trying to push or convince someone of anything. And what you're doing is presenting a solution to their problem. And that's why I started with that. When you asked me, how do you figure out what you're supposed to do? Well, what problem are you going to solve? Because it's always going to come back to that, right? So that is what you're doing on your calls. You're presenting a solution to their problems and making sure that you demonstrate empathy and that you understand them, because you're not going to solve everyone's problem. That you might get on the phone and they're not a good fit. So why would you try to coerce them into buying your program? You're literally, you're vetting people to see, do I want to work with this person? Can I help them? Do I like them? Are they going to show up? Are they going to be a pain in the butt? And that's the mindset shift you need to have, is that you're really selecting who you're going to allow to be your client, not just desperately looking for the next sale. And I'll tell you, you can turn people away and watch them come back, coming back. I know I have a rule, and I share this in my Mindset and Sales Mastery program. I don't do a face-to-face meeting with someone unless we have an inked deal, right? So I was on a call, on a discovery call. We went through about 45 minutes call, heard her needs. Obviously, I could solve her problem. And we hung up. She said, okay, it's actually something that required outside approval. So it was a business. Then she sent me an email and said, hey, this is great. I have all these questions. First of all, can you lower your fees? Second, I want to meet with you. I want to drive down to San Diego and have a face-to-face meeting to make sure you're a good fit for this project. And I wrote her back very quickly and very short. No, I will not lower my prices. And 2, I will not have a face-to-face meeting until you pay me and have a contract. I can answer all of those questions right here. And then I third said, you know what? It sounds like you don't see my value, and I don't think I can take you on as a client. She emailed me back immediately, apologizing, tripping over words. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Yes, we want to work with you. How can I send you the money? Let's set up our face-to-face meeting. In-person meeting. And you know what? She became a client, a great client, and it's great. But she was pushing that boundary that I had established for myself. And you have to have those clear boundaries, because if you're always just like, I'm an open book, come and work with me whenever you want, there's no deadline, or anybody can work with me, then you're actually not going to attract clients. You got to be clear. Who do I want to work with, and what are the rules? What are the boundaries that I'm holding myself to, that these people are not going to push me around or make me run all over the place, or make me get on the phone with them for 3 or 4 calls to take free information from me. All of those different things. And so there was no pushing or coercion. In fact, if anything, I pushed her away. I was like, no, this isn't going to work. You asked me to cut my fees. I mean, that alone made me not want to take her on, but I understood where she was coming from. Everybody's budget minded. But she came back. And so I try to tell coaches that, like, that's the energy you need to approach. You're valuable. You're not just somebody off the street, you know?
True. Very true. So tell me some more steps. What else do I need to know about creating this 6-figure? I'm going from my first client to, I want to get where Jessica is. Jessica, help me, please. I need to get to the 10,000. All the mommies that are like, I need to get to the 10K. And now I know I don't have any excuses, because Jessica is a busy single mama, and she still has time to take care of her clients and take care of her child. So tell me, like, teach us, share your wisdom. What else do we need to do?
Well, definitely you're going to focus on getting those first couple of sales. And if you've structured your program right, you should be making 3, 5, or even 10,000 in a sale. So that's only a handful of sales you have to make. Once you've made those sales, you've essentially validated your program. So next, it's time to build your marketing machine. Now we dive into funnels, creating your webinar, creating your membership site, creating your 3 core funnels, which is the opt-in funnel, the webinar funnel, and your high-ticket application close funnel. For those of you who don't want to know what I'm talking about, just, don't worry about it. Start with the simple steps first. But that's when you're going to build that machine that allows you to automatically have sales and be turning over content and be sending out emails. That's when you build the big thing out, which takes a lot of time and energy. And that's okay, because now you've generated some money and you know that you're going to be able to sell it once you build it all out.
Awesome. Okay, you were talking and then I got excited and then my brain was like, okay, there's something. Okay, awesome. Okay, I love that. There was something that you said about oh yes, I remember what it was. The program. Okay, So how do people determine the length of their program based on, because I know some people are like, okay, charging this price, so maybe it should be this long. How should mamas approach developing the program?
Well, again, you start back with the core problem you're solving and break it into different major steps. In each stage, there should be milestones that are helping them get closer to their desired vision. So that's how you want to structure it. As far as time length, it really depends on how long it's going to take you to get the results. Most people, it's 8 weeks or 12 weeks. Some people do a 6-month model, but you don't want to drag it out and meet with them less if it just means less time for them to actually solve their problem. I mean, if they're paying you top dollar, they're probably going to want to talk to you every week and have multiple calls or email communications and get their problem solved in 2 to 3 months.
Now, at what point do you suggest moving from one-on-one to group?
I think you can do that as soon as you validated your program. I mean, once you've got that, start planning for your group launch. Hold those. Mine's twice a year, so it's a 6-month program held twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring, late spring. So now you've got, again, a valid program, and you've got the content because you're walking your private clients through it, and it's about expanding it to reach a broader audience, most likely for a slightly lower price point.
So I know you said you've been doing 10K for over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start your business?
Well, I started my business when I was pregnant with my daughter. So that would be, she'll be 3 next week, about 3 years and 9 months, 3 years and 8 months, something like that.
So what made you say, okay, I am pregnant, I'm going to go start a business?
Well, I actually feel like I really didn't have a choice. So my background is in marketing. And, I had built multiple companies. I had my own consulting business before, and I chose to walk away from it for about 4 years because I was just done with the business world, and I wanted to go pursue a passion of teaching yoga. And I traveled the world. I backpack all over the world solo. Fast forward to being pregnant. Suddenly I'm pregnant. I have no financial support. The dad is not present. And I've got to bring this baby into the world. And it just was a wake-up call for me. I didn't want to bring her in struggling as a yoga teacher. I wanted to bring her into this world with the life that she deserves. And I knew that I could use my gifts in marketing to create that reality for us because I'd done it before.
Now, what does your planning look like when it comes to caring for your child and caring for your business? How are you structuring things?
Well, pretty much she is in a preschool, so 5 days a week. Those are my primary work hours. And then after she goes to bed, if I need to get some more stuff done, if I have a deadline for projects, I'll work more hours as well. And the way that I structure my days is I have projects grouped into like time blocking, blocks of time to work on certain things and the tasks that I need done. And I just knock them off my list one by one because it's not easy. There's a lot of stuff to do. So you've got to just be a master at list, become super organized, clean your house, keep your house and your office organized so that your mind is clear and you can be productive and, keep moving forward in the direction of your dreams.
What have been some of your challenges in developing your business and being a great mom?
I think the biggest challenge is just finding that balance, making sure that I continue to take care of myself and not being so attached to the deadlines or so attached to when I want things to be done. Because everything, and know this for all the moms listening, everything is going to take longer and it's going to cost more, no matter what. If you plan to launch, in August, it's probably going to be October. It's just the way it goes. And that's not even including like kids getting sick or anything. So just know that it's a process and there's going to be things outside of your control that are going to delay that. And so you can't kill yourself in the process, right? You still have to take time to take your children to the park, to go to yoga, to take vacations, and just understand that it's all part of the journey, but also be willing to put in the time when it's necessary, when you absolutely have to work.
So what are some things that you would tell your pregnant, I'm just starting this business self? What is you now, what would you tell yourself back then to help you along?
I would have said raise your prices. I was like, you're crazy. One, raise your prices. The second one, I would say start coaching sooner, because when I started back, I was consulting. I was doing done-for-you services. And it's always been a thing. I've always wanted to do my own thing, but it's been easy for me to help other people. And, if I would have started building my business for me 10 years ago, I'm sure I'd be at 7 figures by now. So it does take time. It means, just putting more energy into your own business versus getting another consulting client. But the rewards will be there in the long run. It'll pay off.
Now, while you're taking care of everything else, everybody, all your clients, what does your self-care look like?
My self-care is yoga, hopefully 5 times a week. Try to get to it. I get massages at least twice, sometimes 4 times a month. Get my nails done, but that's just to make me feel good. Get my hair done a couple times every couple months. That's it. I mean, I'm planning a trip to Big Bear Lake in a couple weeks, so I'll do hiking with my daughter. So it's just simple things like weekend getaways and then, my weekly maintenance care.
So for the mommies just starting out that may not be able to do the regular massages or certain things that may not be in their budget yet, what are some suggestions that you have for them that may be more for where they are right now until they get to the 10K?
Well, I'd say that you can easily find lots of yoga videos on YouTube that are great. You can also take a hot bath with Epsom salts and lavender oil and pamper yourself. My only caution is, like, be mindful when you say you don't have the money to invest again, because that comes back to your self-worth. And a lot of women, I know women that are six-figure earners that don't say that they don't have the money to get a massage. I know plenty of them. And it comes back to your self-worth. And if you want to charge the kind of money that I'm talking about charging, you have to treat yourself like you're worth something. And that means taking care of yourself. It means being okay with spending $60 or $75 on a massage rather than buying your kid another toy. So I would pose that question to look really deep within before you put up that block and say, I can't afford this massage, because if you look carefully, you can't afford not to.
What I have found is that if you don't go ahead and invest the money in the beginning, you will end up spending more later on. Like,
oh, yeah.
Time to take care of your hair, take care of your body, eat certain types of food, get the massages. Then later on, instead of paying a massage therapist, then you might end up paying a doctor.
Yep.
Or so your hair is not the way that you would want it because you're not taking care of it, or just little simple things of taking care of yourself instead of saying
Totally.
so busy, recognizing that, okay, just like you said, you have to do this. You have to do this for yourself. It's not just a luxury. It's a necessity. A lot of
totally
that is luxuries, and I don't have time for this, and I have to do this for my child, or I have to wait until I get to a certain point. Well, you don't have to go out and, go on a $10,000 vacation, but you can find something that part of your self-care routine so that you do have the energy to take care of your child, and you do have the energy to take care of things in your business. So I love that you touch on that mindset of you have to change how you think if you want to get to, 10K, if you want to get to a thriving, successful business, if you want to be a healthy, happy mommy with healthy, happy children.
Yep.
So do you have any mommy tips on being a single mom and, being involved and everything that comes with that?
I would think, goodness, this is a hard one, because some days you feel like you're an awesome mom and some days you're like, I'm a terrible mom. No, we're not. Love your children, love them, and also hold them to, boundaries, and have some sort of discipline so that they're not driving you crazy, and respect you and respect other adults. And I would say don't overwhelm them with activities. I mean, I feel like we're too quick to put our children in like 5 different things, and they're going to be fine in the backyard or at the park. So, and by the way, that's healing time for you versus like, taking them running around to another activity for them. Just take them to the park, and then you get your nature time, go down the slides with them, you get your childlike time as well. I think that's all I have. And then the other thing is make their lunches the night before. That seems to be really helpful.
Yeah, do you cook?
I do cook. Okay.
So do you plan your meals in advance? Or?
No, I am I wish I could. One of my goals, I just ordered a book. This is true confessions, I was having a meal delivery service. I just stopped it. I'm actually going to have another meal delivery service that I'm trying out. But I ordered a book because I want that to be a better part of our lifestyle, like our diet. And it's just a time thing. It really is. It's like putting that planning and caring. So the short answer is no. I will throw something on, whatever's in the fridge. And I do the meal delivery services, which are helpful. But I haven't got to the point of planning other than the time of it's time now to eat.
Yeah, sometimes my husband talks about me because depending on what's going on, there's a certain type of meal that he knows that I will make. And so I'm like, well, you know what? It's time for pasta and broccoli again. Because I'm like, it's quick. It's been a busy day. And we have 4 children, and all of our children are homeschooled. So sometimes it's like, okay, there was a time where I was like, okay, wake up, cook, clean, cook, clean, cook, clean. Everybody go to bed, work on business. And I was like, okay, we have to do something else. We have to work this out. So I've learned it's all about trying different things so you can see what works for you. Learning from other mommies, but, you know, try different things and seeing what works for your family, like the meal delivery service and things like that. I have to check that out. I don't know.
You have to check it out. I think it'd be pretty expensive with a family of 6, though. Maybe not.
It definitely does make a difference when you have 6 people, because we go out and people are like, wow, it's a lot of you. Like, it's only 4. It's not that many. It's only 4 children, but yeah, I guess it depends on how many. It depends on how many you have. I think if I was on the outside and I saw somebody with 4, I'm like, that's a lot of children. Okay, so before you go, I want to thank you so much for sharing. And I want to know, what is like if they don't catch anything else, you want mommies to know this thing.
I would say you can do it. You absolutely can do it, but you have to want it bad enough. And I think too many people give up before they've even really tried. And so if you desire to create a different lifestyle for yourself and for your family, you have to commit to it and just work at it every single day. And you will get there with time. But you got to start now.
I love that. I love that. Please tell everyone where they can find you.
Sure, you can find me at jessicayarbrough.com.
And what you have going on. You have to tell them like you only have a amount of time. You sign up for that discovery call, then you're saying that you are an action taker. So do not sign up for that discovery call unless you are ready. Come on, and do not let fear stop you. No more fear, mommies, because we tell our children, listen, don't be scared. You don't have to be scared. Take that leap. So mommies, it is time to let go of this fear and start now. No more excuses. No more saying, I'm too busy. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. No more. And if you're ready for the mindset shift that you need to take so that you can become a 10 figure. Okay, well, there you go.
There you go.
Right there.
I'll take it.
It is yours. Receive it. A 10 figure, mommy. Then do what you need to do. You know what you need to do, but sometimes we make excuses and we let ourselves get scared, and it's time to not be scared. Time is moving along. Our children are growing up, and we are their example. They hear what we say, but it's a difference when we are actually doing things. We tell them they can do anything. Well, we can do anything. So go out there and do what you are called to do and live the life that you are called to live. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
If you liked this episode, there's more where that came from. Subscribe, rate, review, and visit thesanemom.com for bonuses created just for you.